Welcome to our posts. Today, we will see stories of r/malicious compliance. You must use the self-checkout, yes sir, but it's not going to work. I was at a local gas station, and it has a self-checkout system. It also takes food stamps. The rule is you have to go to the register, not the self-checkout, to use the food stamp card. I was there today with a food stamp card getting me some lunch, and the guy was manning the self-checkout. It came to my turn, and the following conversation happened. Cashier, come on up. Me, oh, I've got to use the register, I've got. Cashier, no, you can use the self-checkout, now come up, you're wasting time. Me, sir, I have a foo. Cashier, you must use the self-checkout, come up now or leave. Me, yes sir. I walked up and scanned my items and tried to use my food stamp card, and like I knew it would, it did not work. Cashier, what the hell is going on with this dumb thing? Me, showing him my card, sir, I was trying to tell you I have a food stamp card, I have to use the regular register. Cashier, come over here and let's get this over with, next customer can use this one. I walked over, paid for my items and left. All I could do is walk out the door and laugh. Next story. Stop mowing. Okay. My neighbors rent their lower suite to their adult daughter, her partner, and their child. The daughter has main character syndrome, has yelled at me to stop doing work outside repeatedly, called bylaws on me for cutting my grass at 4 p.m. on a Saturday and more. She also refuses to help her senior parents do their yard work. So I continue to cut half their lawn and completely care for the area below their retaining wall. No biggie, it's one for the size of my front yard and flat. Daughter dearest, however, has continued to scream at me anytime I pull out the mower or trimmer in my own yard. It's aggravating to say the least. At the end of May, she lost her mind for mowing the lower area of the yard and screamed at me to stop, threatening to call the police. So I did exactly that, and I stopped. Then I sent my neighbor a lovely text explaining that her daughter was clearly distressed and asked me to stop. Now each week, I mow to the property line, no further, and that yard has gotten bad. Last week, daughter dearest asked me if I could start mowing their lawn again, because her mom was really mad. I declined, said it's too loud and I might get in trouble. Today, she was out there, manhandling a huge gas mower down 9 stairs, and took 25 minutes to mow what takes me 3 minutes, before struggling to get the mower back up. Next story. Snow shovel for hire. I was a kid with a snow shovel. I went around the neighborhood and offered to shovel the driveway for $5. I was getting paid. Everyone seemed grateful. One house had a resident with MS, and they were happy to pay. There was one snow-covered driveway left, but the boy there refused the $5. He wanted to pay a quarter, and I mean 25 cents. I had no other driveways to shovel, but I thought to myself that the kid was told to shovel himself and wanted to get out of it for a quarter. I took his deal knowing he would get in trouble if I took a long time to clear the driveway and his mom came home. I took his quarter up front. So I'm shoveling for a quarter. But for a quarter you get half-hearted effort. I'm taking my time and doing an excellent job. Occasionally he yells at me to hurry up. Yeah, sure. You do remember you paid me a quarter. I'm getting there. Eventually I'm almost done and mom comes home. She is furious. She demands to know why I'm shoveling the driveway she told her boy to shovel. I told her that her son agreed to pay me a quarter to shovel the driveway. She was furious and gave me $5 before going into the house yelling at the kid. I probably spent all my money on candy. Next story. Serve you a coffee? No problem. I was at my BF's house for a week. BF has planned a card tournament with his friends. Since I'm not interested in card games, I decided to stay in the bedroom, playing games on his computer. I could hear them talking, but I didn't listen until I hear my name. Basically, the friends wanted some coffee. No big deal until one of them specifically wanted me to serve them. BF told him it was a bad idea, but he shrugged him off, saying that it was natural. The friend come to the bedroom and ask me to serve them coffee, and I say, sure. When I come to the living room, BF and all the others boys were shocked. BF asked me if I was all right, and I told him with a big smile, sure. BF started to try hiding a smile before telling his friend I shouldn't have to serve them in his home since I'm a guest too. The others' friends were awkward, but the one insisting on me serving them doubled down saying he was right, and it's natural that as a woman I serve them. The group told him he went too far, but I agree with him. The place of a woman is in the kitchen, with fire, blades, household product clearly not meant to be swallowed. Do you want a classic coffee or an aromatic one? BF has hazelnut, Irish, and caramel coffee too. By the way, did you know that cyanide actually smell just like almond? Maybe that's why I never saw an almond coffee. We wouldn't notice if there is cyanide in it. BF burst out laughing. The friend was dumbfounded, and I just continue. They choose a classic coffee. Sugar with the coffee. When I think about it, the most used weapon by women is poison. You know that product, antifreeze, apparently it cannot be detected in the autopsy. That's why he was so much uses to poison people, mainly husbands by their wife. The issues were so big that now we do a test specially to see if antifreeze is in the body. They choose no sugar. They ask that I change the subject, so I oblige. Did they know the movie Black Widow? And very old movie in black and white. It's about a wife who kills her unfaithful husband with a freezing leg of lamb with a hit on the head, just like a baseball bat. She then cooks the lamb and even gives it to eat to the police when they investigate. It's fascinating how she uses her environment, the kitchen, to commit a crime. Do you want a cloud of arsenic in your coffee? Oh, did I say arsenic? I'm sorry, I wanted to say a cloud of milk. Don't worry, it's just a little slip of the tongue because I talk about poison for a while now. Someone asked why women uses poison that much. I just answered, that makes sense. After all, some men expect women to serve them and confidently eat everything they made. I don't know why, but at that very moment, the friend rushed to the kitchen, escort me out and say he will make his own coffee. I asked if he was sure. After all, I don't mind. I still have a lot of funny stories to share. Is it because of the mention of arsenic and cyanide? Don't worry, I'm sure BF doesn't have that in his house. BF was trying to regain his breath while laughing. He managed to say, I told you so. I got forbidden to enter the kitchen until their friends left that day. I wonder why. I would have made these coffees. I just wanted to share my interest on investigations and crimes. Edit. About the antifreeze. I just saw documentaries about old crimes. One of them was about the uses of antifreeze as poison. It was popular in the 1990s because the autopsy couldn't detect it at the time. Next story. Want the electricians to camp out in your area? Be careful what you wish for. I worked at a major consumer products manufacturer as a maintenance electrician. We handled electrical repairs and troubleshooting for the whole factory. The front-end department started having production problems, and the plant manager was not happy. Now the front end was very dirty and noisy, so we as electricians didn't want to spend a lot of time there. But we took our responsibility seriously and worked quickly to address electrical problems. Well, the front-end supervisors decided that the electricians were the problem and requested an electrician be stationed there 24/7, when the real problem was the lack of mechanical maintenance on the machines and poor repairs by the mechanics. Our boss was absolutely no help, and he agreed with the request. Now on to the malicious compliance. We decided to embrace the assignment with a twist. Since we were required to spend our 12-hour shift on the front end, we started a log. We documented every mechanical problem on every machine and brought that log to every production meeting. Pretty soon, the production supervisors were getting called on the carpet about the mechanical problems, and then they decided that they didn't need the electricians stationed in the front end. Next story. There is a difference between fiction and non-fiction. Mr. Mayor, I'm glad I can finally talk about this. My company was contracted to write and illustrate books for a well-known client. My do-nothing editor gave me the assignment to write and illustrate the book. I wasn't given any instruction on the plot, characters, or message to convey. The assignment just said 24 pages, 24 illustrations. Sure thing, boss. One may assume the book's subject matter should be written to support the client's best interest. But as a trans female, this client eliminated some of my rights in my home state. Also, my boss has been a total creep since I started. So I wrote the book, 24 pages, 24 illustrations. It spoke about the client's message, however the tone was a parody, a farce. My editor just glanced at it and passed it to the client. I guess nobody looked at it over at the client's side because they gave us the order to print 10,000 copies. I just received my copy today and nothing changed. When people receive this book from this client, they are going to be quite surprised about the message. I have already put my 2 weeks in and I'm moving someplace far, far away. Next story. No shirts down the water slide? Okay. Just remembered a story from my childhood and think it might fit. I'm extremely pale and have wildly sensitive skin. As in, I wear prescription sunscreen to go outside for more than 5 minutes, but I genuinely don't ever sit in the sun. I wear huge sun hats and keep myself covered entirely now. Unfortunately, this story takes place when I was about 12, hadn't yet learnt to care about my own safety, and the one time my parents were a bit lax on holiday. I put regular 50+ sunscreen on in the morning, but I went swimming at the beach, then played around for another hour. By the next day, the doctor said I had severe burns on my back and shoulders. Trust me, this never, ever happened to me again. I barely get a red nose anymore, I'm so careful. Because it was flippin' agony. Anyway, the rest of that holiday was pretty rough. But my parents bought me a lot of special clothes to get me through, one of which was a light full-body swim costume, a long-sleeve t-shirt and shorts type, so I wouldn't have to worry about burning anymore. It was light enough it didn't hurt, and it meant I didn't have to miss out on the water park, which was always my favorite. Some of the water slides had a rule, no t-shirts, but I assumed since mine was proper swimwear, it would be okay. Most of the time it was, but one particular time the guy had a problem. Got to the top of the slide and the guy said no, you have to take the top off. No exceptions, even though the slide was on an inflatable ring. So hey, I'm not one to argue. I whipped the top off to expose my lobster red, severely peeling back to the masses, stuffed the top down my shorts and enjoyed the ride. I went up a second time, started to take the top off, and the lifeguard yelled no. Guess the rule wasn't so strict after all. Next story. If you're so desperate to buy it. My wife and I bought her car 2.5 years ago, and it's had weird mechanical problems ever since. It was a few years old, but since it was a dollar brand car and we bought it from the dollar brand dealership, they included a half-butt dealer warranty that basically said if we brought it to them for repairs, they'd be more liberal in what was considered their fault for recalls and whatnot. In practice, it meant that we paid for a series of useless little fixes out of pocket because they kept tweaking something small and swearing the car was fine to avoid admitting that fixing the problem correctly on their dime would probably involve taking the whole engine apart. A few days ago, we got a letter in the mail saying they're desperate to buy back our car. They're so in demand, they'll offer $5,000 over Blue Book value. At that point, the car had been sitting in their shop for 3 weeks straight, and they had stopped returning our calls. So my wife and I decided it was malicious compliance time. You want to overpay for a lemon? You're welcome to it. Of course, when we got there, they backpedaled so fast you could practically smell the smoke. Corporate sends those letters, not them. That's only for a car in perfect condition. Ours clearly has serious engine trouble, etc. My wife turned it back on them. Surely the car was in good shape, right? After all, the last 3 times they'd given it back to us, they claimed everything was fixed. As much as I'd like to say we stuck it to them and everyone clapped, we actually came out with a pretty reasonable deal, especially considering our theoretically $6,000 car probably needed $10,000 of repairs. They gave us Blue Book value for it in good condition and waived the service fees for the last 3 weeks, which probably would have been another $1,500. and we bought a new car from them instead of from someone else. Now they have their lemon back, and we've got a vehicle with an actual warranty. It feels good. Next story. Won't let me work. Okay. A few years ago, at my place of employment, they decided to bring in a new safety glasses policy. As I was a member of the safety committee, I was tasked with finding a company who could supply safety glasses that could fit our employees, and with a new criteria, it had to pass a pencil fit test. By this, I mean a regular pencil should not be able to pass around any part of the glass to enter the eye area. A tight fit, as it were. I called around and found a company that was able to come out and provide us with a choice of 120 different models and styles to choose from. This would allow us to fit everyone, from fat to thin faces, tall, slim faces, hawk-shaped, big-nosed, you name it, we would be able to get them fit. I thought that it was in the bag, piece of cake, or any other platitude you can think of. I almost dislocated my arm patting myself on the back. Well, of course, management has to step in and say, this doesn't work for us. Their solution: find a company that has only 6 different styles of glasses and make it work. As I wear prescription lenses, the C's new style glasses were not designed for this. They only have inserts which are clipped on inside. Well, to make the glasses pencil fit, the glasses fit. The frames are curved to fit your face, hence, the insert is bent to fit the frame. Now just imagine taking your glasses and bending them to sit tight to your face. See how this distorts your vision. Now cue malicious compliance. I reported to my boss that I could not wear the new glasses as they distorted my vision and gave me headaches. Their solution was to have me try each model of glasses one at a time, and get lenses made for them to see if I could find one that would work. Knowing that no matter what they did, wearing curved frames would not work, every time I got new lenses made, I made sure that they were high index, UV resistant, tinted, scratch resistant, and the best money could buy. I bought lenses for all 6 frame types at a cost of just over $7,000. At the end of this, I went to see my eye specialist, and he wrote me a letter stating that I am not able to wear the new style glasses as they would damage my eyes. I took this letter into work and showed it to my boss. They didn't know what to do with me. I showed up for work every day, dressed and ready to work, but they never assigned me any work, as it would be too dangerous. Even though I had worn my old safety glasses for the last 25 years, suddenly it's too dangerous. So, they had me just sitting in the lunchroom. I would play games on the computer. I was going to night school, so I completed a semester of school and basically just screwed around. One day, I was playing video games, and our number 2 big boss walked in and saw me. I said good morning, with a big smile and a wave. He didn't. A couple of days later, our number 1 boss walked in while I was reading the newspaper, and he asked me what I was doing, and I said, reading the paper. He said, why? I said, they told me it's too dangerous out there for me. The next day I was back at work. 10.5 weeks I was off, and suddenly the policy was changed. Next story. Inflatable slide plus Karen. Not sure if this goes here, but it kind of applies. Also warning if you don't want to hear about a child getting hurt. I was working a weekend gig at a Carnival Outdoor Festival circa 2002. My station for the day was working the large inflatable slide steps going up on the right side and the slide on the left with a pad on the bottom. Basically my job was to keep the line moving smoothly with minimal injuries. When a kid was at the top, I'd send the next up. This would give the child plenty of time to move off of the landing zone once they got to the bottom and free from any possible danger from the next participant. Everything was running fine until Karen showed up. Her child was about 7 and minded my instructions well, but when he reached the bottom, he began jumping up and down. No problem, he had a few seconds before the next child reached the top, but I asked him kindly to come down. He made his way over until Karen told him he could keep jumping. I gave it a few more seconds until the next child was ready to come down and asked the mother to please remove her child. She then started to borderline yell at me that her son wasn't hurting anything. At this point I had to tell the child at the top to please wait. I had a back and forth with the mother explaining that it's for his protection, and it was holding up the line. This went on for a while when finally other parents started to complain and shout while the line continued to back up. She yelled at me to just send the next kid down as her son would be fine and she would get him down. Cue malicious compliance. The child who had been waiting patiently at the top was significantly larger and was wearing jogging pants and socks. As soon as I signaled for him to come on, he jumped straight up and hit the slide with max velocity. Pretty sure he set a high-speed record because by the time he hit the landing zone, he just skidded across the top and hit the other child with his feet. This sent the little boy flying about 10 feet onto the pavement. I didn't say a word and neither did Karen. I just stared at her while she picked up her screaming child off of the pavement and left. Anyway, I did feel bad for the child, but I hope Karen learned a valuable lesson. I hope you guys like this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share, and subscribe the channel. Our posts